reaction. So again, hello everyone. So today we will be seeing, this is the first day of our workshop of Python programming. So I will be tutoring you, and supervisor of this workshop is again my supervisor, Dr. Byung. So I would like to start with a little bit of my background. So I am originally an electrical and electronics engineer, and I had a 1 year of working experience in field operations engineer. So this is the first time that I have realized how important and how easy to solve problems with the programming. So I'll be showing some of the examples later on. I have also started my MSc degree, the first MSc degree in that field about microelectronics and intelligence systems. Then I realized that marine engineering is better, so I just changed my subject to the autonomous systems in marine engineering. Now this is my first year of the PhD degree in the marine engineering department. So let's see the overview of this workshop. This workshop will be fast-paced, interactive learning. So it will be aimed to develop your personal programming skills. So we will be coding together, especially this day and tomorrow, also depending on the situations and your feedbacks in the third day as well. So audience will get basic knowledge about programming. So I will be giving you some basic, again, fundamentals about other programming languages as well. So right now we will be dealing with Python, but there are other programming languages. So if you may further study yourselves, so there will be good information. Audience will develop skills that are required to create their own digital solutions. So basically, I will be giving you information about how to create your own functions, and then with some tasks and exercises, you will be creating your own applications. Outcomes, again, a general understanding of programming, some skills to develop unique and problem-oriented programs, that is your own designs. So we'll be all programming here together, and you will see that all of the programs that you will create yourself is unique. So because there is no only one way of the truth. So you will see that everybody will be unique. Every program will be unique. And after that, you will also see how to, you know, the GitHub, for example. In GitHub, you will see some codes, and after the fundamentals, you will have a basic understanding of the reading the code itself. This is again also important. Okay, so let's see the content of the day one. So we will be having an introduction to the programming languages. So most of them, especially the top ones that is used, and why we are going with Python, some libraries about Python. Then we will see some programming basics of Python, and you will going to create your own first application. So tomorrow, depending on the situation and some feedbacks, also it may be changed, but right now I'll be showing you what is a graphical user interface. So you have a code, this is backend, and in the front end you should see something. This is called GUI, graphical user interface, and there are some libraries about it. So we will be taking a look to that one. And depending on the situation and your feedback on the third day, so there are some important libraries that are used to create your own algorithms. So for that one, OpenPyXL is an Excel library to use some functions to get data from Excel or to append data to the Excel. Pandas and SQLite, again, SQLite is a not server-based SQL, which is great to study again. So you don't need a server to go with an SQL. Pandas will be like a mathematical library, depending on your, let's say, if you would like to go with them, you'll just select one, or just go with the normal one to see, just narrowly see all of them. So, yes, You all have the IDE. This is called Integrated Development Environments. So these environments provide you the easy to command, easy to code your own programs. So for example, there is a function called print. So if you don't have an IDE, you should all type the print by itself. But if you have an IDE, and if you're working in an IDE, if you write just type P, the print will be just come soon, and it will be very much easier to program. So Python 3 is an interpreter. So basically coding is something, is a language. So right now we're talking English to understand each other. In the computer language, we need to talk with its own rules, and this is called programming language. Python 3 is an interpreter that interprets the code to binaries, 1 and 0s, to machine language. So we are going to use the Visual Studio Code. Why I like this IDE? Because it's just not only for Python. You can also go with C, C++, MATLAB or R, like anything you want. It is also like developed by the Microsoft. So, okay. Introduction to programming. Again, this course will be just beginner friendly, and also right now it's 3 p.m., 5 p.m. So you all like studied a lot, and so yeah, I won't be like taking too much to details. It will be just narrowly covering the first things, and hope you like it. Okay, so what's programming? Programming is the process of creating a set of instructions to tell a computer how to perform a task. Basically, talking with the computer. These instructions, known as code, are written in various programming languages. So as I say, let's see a comparison table here. We are not taking too much details. So you will see there are some languages and their key features, advantages and disadvantages. So I have highlighted some of the important parts there. So you will see Python, its key feature is easy to learn. This is why it's great to start programming if you don't know. And thanks to its open source, which means that there are a large community and it's free. So people still developing also functions like Excel. So like one of them requires something about Excel, and he develops Excel libraries. So by that way, if he publishes, you can also use those libraries to benefit or code your own programs. So JavaScript, HTML or CSS code, Style Studio, I think, CSS. So these are for web development. If you are have some objectives about web development, you can try JavaScript, HTML or CSS, Java, Android development, C, C++, microelectronics, systems development, very high computing speed. Because Windows itself is also working with C++, PHP, server-based web programming, and like these are others as well. So you will see that some languages are derived languages. So R is not a language itself. It is using basically C, C++ or the other ones as a base. Or like Arduino. Arduino is not a language itself. It is using C, C++, and some just created some functions that will be easy to use with microelectronics. So they have created Arduino. And MATLAB is also the same. So they are using, they are specialized in something like matrix laboratory, I think, MATLAB, the abbreviation. So let's take a look at some of the projects that actually I dealt with, and as I told you, I'm like looking for the backgrounds. So that was one objective. So my manager gave me a project, gave me an objective, which was very hard to do because there was like thousands of things to be input to the system. So basically my company says that, okay, we will be digitalizing. There will be like digitalization, and Evren come here and write all of the things to the web server. It was like in the first, it was very hard, and then I realized that I can automate itself. So I have created the software called automation software for autofill forms, digital transfer. So you'll see that the GUI is like created by a company. So I just used Python to automatically give the inputs to the data form. So let's see the video. So you'll see that. So there is no like user action. It automatically sees the red buttons. It just gives the information and saves them. So basically, it does for like for more than I think 100 of pages. So I just make that, and it was like normally they were waiting 1 month for me to finish this one. So it just took 3 days without working. So I just did nothing, and yeah, in 3 days it was finished. So there was again, like I would like to show an example project. This is the master's project, the design of an autonomous marine vehicle. I have used again Python in here to see like how the computer vision works. So basically there was a red ball and the camera should see the red ball to avoid it or follow it. It was the main idea. So let's see. So you see this is the camera footage. So this is the joystick that we have created. And there is a Red Bull actually, like, this is not a good footage, it was like 1 year ago. So you will see the camera just works behind it. Yeah, this camera scans the environment to see like what is going on. So this is not just the Python, it was like a multidisciplinary work. MATLAB, Python, and Arduino, both 3 of them was working. I choose the Python because it has a very good libraries about object detection. Okay, so you have seen some examples of like the programming and how they can help you in your like academic life or personal life. So why we need to learn programming? So programming gives you problem solving skills because like all of the problems are riddles basically that are waiting for you to solve them. Creativity. After some point, you will understand that. So like after like creating your own functions, so then while you look into the systems, like any system, you can be like in a passively, you will be like developing something. So this can call you like a creativity or like you may further develop or give the optimization to that thing. Career opportunities, I don't think like there is no need to like talk about it. You know, software is always important, depending on again the industry and automation. So basically, what you are trying to do is to less work, more job. This is something the programming or software development gives you. Let's take a look to the key concepts and to like go with a little more of hands-on learning because right now I'm just talking and you will be seeing that we will be doing something. So what we will be talking about, the algorithms. Algorithm is a way of like step-by-step procedures for calculations or operations. Data structures, so how the data is organized. So there are different kind of data like arrays and lists. Especially in programming languages, this is important. Let's say that array, you have lots of numbers. If it's a list, so numbers or either words is like a different type of objects can be inside. This is like how they are called this. Arrays, all numbers, all words. Lists are numbers and other type of objects as well. Syntax. Syntax is a very useful word that is used. So it is the name of the punctuations, the rules of any programming language. So in C++, you will see lots of semicolons everywhere. This is a syntax. in Python, you will see changing lines to see the next command is a syntax. So in programming, making word mistakes is like an error because you have to give the exact information because they are not humans, they can't understand that. Debugging. So while working with the long projects, after let's say hundreds of lines or like 200 lines, you will see that you will have some bugs in your code. So let's say that there is a loop that goes for like forever, or there are some word issues. So to understand where the bug is, you will put some milestones on those codes. So these are called, this can be called as debugging. So basically, while you are doing your projects, always have like a printing kind of things that indicates that the code is working or not. Vacuum control, this is something later on. So I don't think right now, if you're like, let's say, working in a project, in a group especially, let's say that I have started my project as a 0.1. So it was just an initial. So let's say that Dr. Jung would like to add some information to that, and he adds change to 0.2. So this is like a version. Again, just a little bit of quick look to understand this is again a fundamental. So there are different levels of programming. So all languages just compiles itself, which is what's compiling, changing to words to zeros and ones. So every language like Java, Python, C++, they tries to go to the lowest level, which is assembly. Assembly is your like RAMs or registers inside your computer, which then changes to zeros and ones. So let's say, for example, Python, you will write something like print something. In the assembly, it goes to move lots of things, and then goes to the computer level, 0, 1, 1, 1, 0, 0, something. I think we do have a Python versus assembly coding theme. You see like eat, self, print, name, something, which is again easy to like basically understanding how you write something in the Python. But in this one, this is, you see, like all of them are the numbers each of the registers in your computer. So you have to know them after some point to do some certain tasks. So which is quite hard, and like right now, I think it's totally unnecessary to understand assembly. So yeah, this is like, it always starts from high level, goes to the low level. Lowest is better because no computation, fastest. This is why C and C++ is have high computation speed rather than Python. Python is like a little bit high level, which is like more functions, more object-oriented code, something. And by that way, it has like more complex layout in itself. If it's more complex, slower. So this is one of the disadvantages of the Python. It is slower than the assembly, C++, other one are like faster than MATLAB because it is to very high level. Like Python is widely used. It has a strong community that develops every day, like for their own functions. It's industry adaptation used by Google, Facebook, NASA, and more. It is beginner friendly. It's an high-level language. It can be used for web development, data science, AI, scripting, or game development with different libraries. So you see, pandas, NumPy, TensorFlow. So these are called libraries, which somebody just coded them for us to use them if we are dealing with AI. Okay. Now, by the way, like until here, do you have any questions so far? So. Okay, just don't hesitate to for any questions. So from now on, we will be going with programming. So I'll be showing some information. Then we will be together trying it to see like how it works, and then we will have some exercises. Okay. So firstly, data types. So while working with like any computer language, specifically right now, Python. So there are different data types. So for example, -5 is an integer, or 5 is an integer, but 5.2 is different. It is a floating number, floating point number. So you see here, so there are different kind of data types, and while programming something, so you need to tell computer, you need to say computer, you are working with pears or apples, because like it doesn't understand in the first, it is either apple or pear. So if you are working with integers, so like especially this is why Python is easier. So in the other computer languages, like programming languages, you have to tell that this is an integer, or like this is a floating number. But in Python, it's like, because it's high level, it understands automatically. If you give -5 or like 2 to it, it just understands as an integer. Floating numbers. So if you give a number with a point, as you see, like -5.2, for example, it will understand that this is a floating point number. So, but basically, like this is just not an integer anymore. It has floating numbers behind it. There is also like another different one, which is called Boolean algebra. So this is zeros or ones, which are also false and true. So this is another data type. There are arrays. So actually this is a list because there are different elements. So one is a, let's say, integer xy. This is not an integer or something. This is a character, actually a string. And 5.4, this is a floating number. And there is like an empty set, which is again a character, like an element of an array. So characters. So this too is important because while working with user inputs, you will see that somebody will be giving lots of strings. They said, I would like to give my name to the system. So this is a string. So string is a set of characters. We can say easily like that. A character is just one character. It basically says char character. So A is a character, or 5 can be a character as well. So this is tricky. So 5 is either an integer, is also a floating number, and also a character. So while defining 5, or like giving 5 to an unknown in Python, you will see that there will be some typos, punctuations. So you see, like this typo is important to give show that to define a character is a character or not, basically. In the integers, you'll see that there is no typos like that. In character, there is, and in the string, since there are more than one character, we are using double typos. Okay. So let's see how we define a variable. Then let's go to the studio code to try them and to see like how they are reacting to our operations. So in most of the programming languages, again, specifically with Python, on the left-hand side, your variable name will be looking. So this is wrong, for example. 5 equals to t is wrong, but x equals to -7 is correct. So while you are defining your variables, you will be the syntax is like that. X will be equal to -7. So by that way, the Python interpreter will understand that x will be an integer and it is -7. If you give y equals to, with the typos, marine, it will understand that y is a string and it is marine. And z is 5 with a doodle. So in Python, again, it understands that this is like, it doesn't say that it is a problem. In other languages, it is a problem actually to use one type or double types. Okay, so like I will be just, for excuse, I will be sitting and opening my studio code.
In that case, the T is a character or string?
Which one?
Z.
Why? This one, right?
String. Is it a string or the string?
It is a string. The marine, right?
No, 5.
5 is char, character.
Okay.
Because it's just one character. It's a character right now. So right now, let's.
So you said double a puncture and singular puncture.
Yes, this is actually what I was trying to say. In most of the languages like C, C++, it is different. But in here, like in Python, it doesn't say any problem. It just understands from the number of the elements inside something. So if there is just one element, it says that it's char. If there are more than one element, like marine, it is a string. So this is just like the why we are using like a high level language, which is better.
So the one of the benefit using Python, we don't need to define the variable.
Yes.
So we not necessarily need the integral for the string, but other languages, we have to define x will be integral and then y should be a string.
Yes.
Otherwise, they are not understanding what
They don't understand. They just give error.
But here, just whatever variables just look like that one, you input that x just automatically understanding that is just integer and string. Right?
Yes, this is why again Python is better language for. It's just again like it can change to depending on the person, but yeah, it's like very much easier than the others. So why it is important to like let me also give this information to you. Why it's important to give the let's say floating number because there are others as well. So basically, like programming is something about electronics. So there are microelectronics there. So basically, there are lots of lines which are giving 0, 5, or 5 volts, one of zeros. There are lots of them. So there are 32 bits or 64 bits your processor information. So it means that it has 2 to 64 or 2 to 32 times of the number of possibilities, which is again can be called as number. So in here, if you give something an integer is very small number instead of floating because like there are in between 1 and 2 there are infinite amount of floating numbers, but between 1 and 2 just 2 integers, which is again very narrow. By that way, you will see that there are very much less space is used. This is again, so if you don't need to use like too much space, too much bus lines, just go with like the smallest one. So it's always start with an integer. If you cannot do with integer, go with a float. If float is not enough, let's say that your numbers are becoming billions, like more than trillions, then double. There is something called double, which is again, it just doubles the amount of the storage that you are using. So this is why, again, very, very important. If you are working with a very complex projects, so just to decrease or the optimizing it, so you can find some numbers that are double or like floating numbers, change them to the integers if it's possible. So this is one of the things that to decrease or optimize a project. So let me just give my screen to you, and let me also show you how to like use Studio Code. I'll just share it again. Okay. So let's close all of them. So when you open the Visual Studio Code, just please try to open it. So by that way, you will also see that how to like run with it. So you will see that there are 5 different tabs, actually 6 different tabs on the left. So we'll be dealing with Explorer when we are working in a project. So if you have a Python, so let's just follow my steps. In here, there is a file, top left. press the file, and there's a new file. Press the new file. So in here, it should ask for a Python here. Can you see the Python? Okay. So yeah, it is normal. If you don't see the Python, so this is again why we are using Studio Code. On the left, you will see the extensions. Just press the extensions and search in the extensions in the market, it says. Try to find Python. Just write Python. And yeah, the Microsoft one. Download the Python and the Python debugger. It will just, you just click it and that should be installed. Yeah, click it and install. Not this one, this one. Yeah, the other one is different. So install from here and install from here. They're installed in Matrix. Installed, right? Okay, now you should have the, yes, install the debugger as well. Python debugger. Installed. Yeah, now your IDE is ready to code in Python. Let's say that you would like to go with a C++. You just write C and C++. You see, now I can work with C++. Or let's say that I want to work with MATLAB. You see MATLAB, just download the MATLAB. Sometimes again, it won't work but it will just give you to coding because MATLAB requires some like Simulink features. So just like some of the easy aspects are working. So now let's go back to the Explorer. So let's, do you have like add folder to the workspace? Let's start with like your organization. Let's add a folder to the workspace. So in programming, so I would like to add a new folder called, let's say, workshop 1. Sorry, I just add the add folder to workspace. Right click, new folder, workshop 1. Now and selecting the workshop 1, add. And I am trusting myself. Now workshop 1 is included here. While in the workshop 1, there is a new file button here. Can you see? Okay, after adding new file, let's give a name. So name is trial 1. So in the trial 1, we will be looking for, so what we have seen last, some of like integers and floating numbers. So I will give my number name is equal to 12. And I just want to save it right now. Yes. In here, by the way, so in the workshop 1, under your file folder, you will see your file, which is right now trial 1. So I'm right-clicking it, and I'm just renaming it with trial1.py. So now, after adding the py, you will see that there is a Python icon just jump out. So right now, the IDE, the Studio Code, understand that we are working with Python. Now you see the colors are changed right now. So my number is equals to 12. So again, so some of the mistakes that you can't do, this depends on syntax. So I just give a number just like that, my number. I can also give the number with like that, or my underscore number equals to 5. This is again also something like initialization, my number. But if I try to say that my number equals to 7, or yeah, equals to 7, you will see that the syntax is right now has some problems, and my is not defined, my number, because in Python, in the syntax, your variable should be just one word, and there shouldn't be like some like special characters like space. And also, while defining your own variables, they should be unique. So I do have a my number here. And if I have a my number again here, so basically what it will do, in the first I have defined 12. And in the second I've defined 7, so it will just change to the 7. So because of that, I just add 1 here to give its uniqueness to it. Also my string, let's have another my string equals to shift 2, which is that two typos, marine, let's say. Now we have a string, marine, and you see that marine is again in orange side. So the IDE also gives you different colors to identify some of the objects. So the blues are your values, so variables, and the greens are their info. So this is like 12 means that it's stored in my number. And this is how you this is how you define your variables in Python. Use.
Thanks for the value, like maybe number of the letter.
There is. So again, since we are in Python, if there is if your word count or your number count reaches after some point, it was I think around 2 billion. 2 billion is a number that goes for integers. So after some point, it's after 2 billion, it just goes to itself to double 4 billion. It makes itself to 4 billion. And if requires more, that it goes to the 10 to 32, something like that, which is like very big numbers. So there was a limit, but in Python, you don't need to deal with the limit because it just changes if it requires to be bigger storage size. So there are different layouts in your storage. So if you would like to use the smallest one, Python will start with the smallest one. If it is, let's say 5, very small number. If it is 10,000 million, or so 10 million thousand, 10 million, then 2,000 something, then it will require more. Then Python says that, okay, let's open more storage for that variable.
And another question is maybe how, so there is no like a end punctuation.
In Python, yes, again, we don't.
So maybe in one line, maybe how many can I put in the one line?
So there is no limit for that. So we can just have a trial for that. So let's say this is again a number. So like, let's go with more.
So it can be the same answer for the first question, the same.
It will just, if it is more than some, let's say, number, then it will try to give more storage. But there should be a limit, of course. So normally, like again, as you say, so in C, C++, let's say that you have written a word, and then you need to finish it with a semicolon. So by that way, the language will understand that, okay, this is one code, and you can continue. But in the Python, if you just enter or just go to the second line, it understands that, okay, I am done with that comment. Let's see the other. So this is again a good good feature about Python. And you were just asking processor.
Not asking this any error to your previous. So now we put as the my number 12, that is just automatically that storage is considered integer, the smallest one. Then maybe later on, then we change the number from 12 to maybe billion later on in our coding. This my number automatically changing its storage capacity. So in C++, we have to change the storage size,
Yes.
and then we can put billions into that my number. But this Python, just whatever number we put, just that is automatically changes the capacity of the storage. So that is very good.
Yes, it's one of the good feature of a Python. Again, why it's, we are using like we are saying high level language than the others, because you see now it is like little bit like how to say improvising for something. So if the number if like increases, it says okay, let's change the storage. In C, you cannot do that. It will just give you the maximum. So when you try to give like a very big number, it just give you the maximum. It doesn't just change anything or gives an error. So since we have my number, let's go with my number 1, my number 2. So instead of 5, let's give like 5.0 or 5.2. By the way, right now it's changed to the floating number. You can see, by the way, right? Do I need to make it bigger? So you can easily see the code, right?
Yes.
Okay. So this is how you are defining the variables. So let's continue with the presentation a little bit. By the way, we'll see some functions to see what are the types and to understand like how Python reacts to them. Operators. So plus is an addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. These are just like the four fundamental operations. Modulus, it gives you the after division what is left as an integer. Exponentiation, the power, and the floor division, it will divide it, and depending on the value, let's say that this is 3.3, and it will give the floor, which is 3. It doesn't it stays in the integer. It doesn't show the 3.3. This is floor division. So let's go with some of the operators. Let's have a trial. Again, let's go back to the Visual Studio Code. So right now I would like to, so I will just give you a function that is for printing. By the way, you will understand what is going on in the Python stage. So this function is called print. This is also like a very common, you will be using like in all of the projects for debugging. You know, I just talk about something about debugging. By that way, you are understanding that your code is working or not. So print is that function. So let's say that I would like to have a multiplication, or let's say just an addition with my number, and also you see I can just change from here. I will just use my arrows. I need to use my number, and I'm using tab. Now my number is written plus. What else we need? We need my number 2. And yes, right now the code is ready. So before that, we were just defining or writing something. Now we will have an output from the Python. Okay, let's see. So for having the console to work, you will see there is a run Python file option. Can you see that? So if you press it on it, yeah, it gives the output in here. Just try it and see like how it works. Again, we can just let's have a trial for something. My char is like, let's say my char 1 is another char of 56. Now this is different, 56. And my char 2 is equal to 12. Okay, there are two different chars. You see, like these are numbers, but when I give the double quotes here, they are right now strings. So I would like to ask you, so if I would like to add my char 1 and my char 2, what will the Python give to me? What will be the output? What do you like? What do you say right now?
I will just again. Yes, this will be the output. Let's try. So I'll just copy the print. And I will just write my char 1 and my char 2. Again, like, since I don't want to use the print, but later on, if I require to use it, so like there is a commenting and uncommenting, which is very helpful for like, and it is always an option in every programming language. So in Python, it is hash. If I write hash, you see that whole line is in green, which means that we are saying the Python interpreter, okay, don't look at this line or look after the hash. So since I don't want to see my number plus my number 2, I just go to print my char and my char 2. And okay, let's run it again. Yeah, you were correct. 56 and 11. It just combined the chars. Okay, let's go back to the presentation. And so shall we also go with one more operator? So like we can try how if we try to multiply two strings, what will be happen? So basically I have no idea right now. So instead of like having a plus sign here, let's go with a multiplication. And is there any like a opinion about what will happen? So 56 and 12, and there will be like a multiplication.
Type error
Probably.
by a sequence by an integer of type.
It gives an error, right? Type error. Can't multiply sequence by non-integer and type string. Yeah, which makes sense. Yes, okay. So if we try to subtract, again, type error. Unsupported types, because string cannot be subtracted. So like, let's say that we have such a problem. So because, you are going to get some inputs from the user, and these inputs are always in strings. So let's say that I want to get the temperature from the user. By the way, I will just go with some of the calculations later on. So when the user gives an input to the system, it will be considered a string. But how I am going to deal with that string? Again, like there is a way. So if I go to the my char here and write int in the first, and again you need to use parentheses because this is a function int inside the parentheses my char 1, and again int parentheses my char 2. Again, in the IDE, you will see that the parentheses are in the same color. If you are like dealing with, let's say these purples are closed itself and these oranges closed itself. So if there was no orange, you will see that there is a red marking, and it also says that there is an error, what is going on. So you just need to close it with another parenthesis. Okay, right now, what int command, what int function does, it converts the object inside to the integer. Let's try right now. I will just again run Python file. Now it says 44. There are no errors, which is our solution for that problem, that specific problem that we have dealt. Okay, it was the first solution that we have seen.
And what if the addition of the floating number and integer?
Again, okay, let's try a good one. So in Python, if you would like to add two different numbers, integer plus floating number, it converts the integer to the floating number. But in the other ones, again, there will be a type error. So because integer pears and apples cannot be summed. But let's try my floating one is equals to 6.9. 12 and my int 1 is equals to 5. Again, since I'm not going to deal with that, let's clear it. And I want to print my float thing 1 plus my int 1. Let's see. Also, like there is a shortcut for it. Instead of always going to the run Python file here, you can press F5. It will ask which debugger you would like to use. I would like to say like Python debugger. And we see what will be the solution. Yeah, it just goes for the floating number. So it just changed to it. So for the understanding, there is also like another function. So basically, you are all okay until here, right? If like any questions or any trials you would like to make, let's try it. So I suppose no questions, and it is like clear. So lastly, like before a break, let's also see the conditions. So we had talked with about booleans, right? So which is true or false. Okay. So there are different condition operators, which are again different. So double equal, which says that is it equal to if two numbers or two strings or two variables are equal, it will say that okay, it's true. For example, 5 is it equal like equal to 5, then it will give us true. It is just like a new so option output. If there is this type of here, is it not equal to? If 5 and 6 is not equal to, it will give 1. Again, true. If it's greater, smaller, greater or equal to, smaller equal to, and or not, like logic operators. So let's have a little bit of trial about it, then let's see the output. Since we are dealing with a print. So let's say that we have my int 1, and I would like to add my int 2, which is 5 again. And since I'm not dealing with, I was just commenting it out. Print my int 2 equals, is it equal to my int 2? Now let's see what is the output here. Run Python file. It says true here. You see? And if I make this one and try it, it will give false. So this is one of the operator, Boolean. Again, you can also assign Boolean values to the variables. So let's say that I have my bool 1 equals to true. If I give like that, so this variable corresponds to true. Let's also add another one. My bool 2 is equals to false. So again, you can also compare two Boolean ones with again together. So let's say that my bool 1 is not equal to my bool 2. What should be the answer? It is true, correct. And let's also give it a like higher or equal to. So I have my number 12. So let's use that. So my number is greater or equal to my int 1. Let's have a try. It says it is true. because my number 12 is bigger than my int 1. So if it is, let's say 5.1 instead of, let's go with my number 1, because we are now comparing 5.1 with a 1, with 5. So let's see what it says. It will just again say true, because you can also compare, while comparing two numbers, again, it will say that if it's floating number, let's change the floating. Okay, so since it has been like an hour, let's give a break, because I think you may have some, it might be full your minds. Okay, so shall we just give it like a 10-minute or 15-minute break?
10 minutes.
10 minutes. Let's go with 10-minute break.